Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Crespect Autumn Uplift webinar. We're waiting people to join bit by bit, but we're here, and we love those who join in time. So thank you. And here we are. We're here on this. We're here on this threshold of the busiest season, also well known as the burnout season. And Team Crespect has invited two distinguished experts to help us remain sane and maximize results instead of running around like headless chicken. So let me present to you Neringa Petrauskaitė, a co-founder of the B2B marketing agency We Are Marketing from Vilnius, Lithuania. And she's an experienced marketing strategist and the head of global network development at Women at. Hi, Neringa.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for inviting to share.
Yeah, and we have Manu Kanwar, a founder of the innovative legal consultancy LexSolutions, an experienced technology general counsel, former general counsel, and a leadership and organizational coach. Manu is actually passionate about driving the real value, greater humanity, and even enhanced well-being in the legal sector. Can you imagine that? Enhanced well-being, right? Hi, Manu.
Hi, thanks very much. Thanks for the invite.
So today we will spend 45 minutes together. I will be asking some questions, and I would love to invite our audience today to contribute as well. So please use the comment section on LinkedIn to write your questions, and we will try answering them in the end of the webinar, or I'll do my best squeezing them into our conversation. So first of all, I have a question to you both. You both have tremendous experience working with legal professionals, and I would like to ask you, could you elaborate? Like, what are you waiting for? What are you expecting in this fall season? What are the regular challenges? It's the final quarter is coming, end of the year is coming. How will your day-to-day life look like in this busy fall season? Neringa, could you start?
Yeah. Sure. Actually, as I have been working with law firms, both as in-house and as a consultant for the last 17 years, I do not expect anything new, I would say, in this fall season, because for this time of frame I've been working with this law firms, I see the same recurring trend after every single year. And what's happening in this fall season, in particular, next few weeks, what you will see in your law firms is that lawyers came back from their vacation from various nice Maldives, Turkey, whatever, full of inspiration, on a very good vibe, good mood, and full of new ideas. So usually in the beginning of September, what happens in the law firm that there's sparkling new ideas, starting with, let's say, let's have this topic on media, let's have this conference, let's try this new marketing format or channel or whatever. Even let's try develop new service for our clients, like new legal service or something. So a lot of ideas pop up in this particular season, which is not that good actually from one side, because I think the energy they came from back from the vacation is really nice, but the focus is quite a bit lost, I'd say. And what happens that actually what I've been experiencing for a number of years is that this inspiration somehow disappears by, let's say, mid-November. And all the sparkling ideas, some of them I implement and then some not. So somehow, again, slowdown happens. So very often the plans that have been built and or confirmed in the beginning of the year, or let's say BDM activities that require long-term commitment and some contribution year after year, are somehow left behind, and that's a big challenge in autumn to keep focused and to continue with that. So, because let's admit, for all of us, it's much easier and to turn a new leaf and to start something new rather than to conceive from what has been approved or agreed before. So continuity actually requires a lot of internal effort, and rather than starting new sparkling things and exploring new things. So well, what I've been also experiencing that in most cases it's BDM people, business development and marketing people in law firms that actually have a big challenge to have to keep and get these lawyers back on track, meaning on what has been agreed before, or these plans, these goals, and tactics and challenges, or at least to balance between these new ideas and the ideas and activities that require continuity, or that require long-term commitment to achieve this annual or long-term goals. So, but it's not also an easy task for business development and marketing experts, because working in-house in the law firms, because let's say that emotionally it's more appealing to do, also, as I said, new things rather than to continue something, following someone's footsteps, or doing boring this stuff, writing submissions or the same articles or web news or whatever, but we've been doing for a long time. So this jumping around many ideas and chaotic activity actually is not neither efficient nor healthy for lawyers, because first of all, it requires a lot of energy, which is in most cases wasted.
Yeah, I hear like lots of ideas, lots of new sparkling topics. Let's jump straight ahead towards that, right? Manu, is it the same in London?
Yeah, I think it's a very similar story. I think as you've already noted, we're coming back from the summer holidays. Everyone's had a great break. People have got lots of good ideas. They're very energized, but we've only got 4 months to the end of the year. So combined with the energy that you've come back with, we've got a sense of overwhelm with these deadlines coming in shorter. And I totally understand what Neringa is saying in terms of people wanting to then pursue new ideas, because it just can be a bit more exciting. But how do we manage, the energies that we've got coming with us, and the deadlines that are coming towards the end of the year, combined also with the fact that it's getting colder, it's getting darker, and so we've got a misalignment both in terms of our own energies, about the way that we're working with each other, a misalignment in relation to our goals. So there is a need for a bit of a reset, and that misalignment causes well-being issues and stress, and as we've already alluded to, the topic of this webinar is about burnout, and so we see that there are more dangers of burnout. So how do we manage that in a way that well-being is not impacted and productivity is not impacted? So because obviously as we reach burnout, not only the individuals at risk, but the business and the goals are also at risk.
Yeah, and we're at this on this verge of measuring results and planning even more ambitious goals for next year, right? So Neringa, could you educate us, please? How to keep this consistent marketing strategy? Like, why is it better to maintain the path that is being laid already, or like instead of taking this new fresh ideas that competition is already doing?
Okay, let's start with why, because I know that telling lawyers what to do, it doesn't work. They have to understand why you have to do things. So actually, there is some scientific, couple of scientific researches that I wanted to address today. Is first of all to talk about sales process. Sales process in most cases in B2B, the same in legal service industry, actually takes quite a long time. In 60% of cases, it takes from 4 to 12 months to close the deal. Yes, let's ignore those cases when there is an emergency and the client needs immediate potential client needs immediate assistance because he was sued or something. Let's leave this aside and let's talk about that we are targeting new target markets that we are not familiar with, and we want to attract them as long-term cooperation partners. So in this cases, it takes quite a long time, and what it means that marketing has to be long term and consistent. Meaning we can sparkle new ideas, I do new things, after new things. We have to remain consistent and have a long term plan in most cases. So what it means that actually another reason that which is also scientifically proven, that marketing requires repetition. And you get bored about doing something and now talking about the same topic. You got bored, but that doesn't mean that this message has already reached your target audience. Because again, let's go deeper into those researches. That one of there is a couple of researches, actually more, showing that if you want the message to reach a target audience, you need to repeat this message at least 60 times to have connected this message with some particular brand or particular person. So only that the repetition of at least 16 times gets the result. Meaning you will be recognized as the expert talking about, let's say, some law or labor law or whatever. So, and there is one more point there, that actually how many times you communicate about the same things also very much depends on the noise in the market or how aggressive competition in your market is. So let's take the Baltic countries as an example. And we know that as most of European countries seem as very, seamless country from country, but actually when you're talking about legal service industry, the competition is much more aggressive in Lithuania to compare with Latvia and Estonia, and there's much more noise in Lithuania to compare with Latvia and Estonia, which means that in Lithuania we have to do much more to put much more effort to communicate our message, so to make sure that it's heard. But there is one more important thing in this studies that indicates that actually to get this message through, meaning to make sure that it was heard, you have to use multiple marketing channels, meaning to have an integrated approach, because the person better perceives the information when it reaches him from whatever, social media, PR, whatever, meaning all these channels that are already on the radar of your target audience. So again, long-term focus, repetition is a key. So another conclusion from all of that, all those researches, could be that actually we need to pursue our business objectives in a holistic way and not to give up prematurely. So we can't neglect, let's say that there is no demand for some service that we've been developing for some time or been testing in the market. If we just simply saying that client is not interested, I ask, he's not interested. Or if I let's say had 1 or 2 or 3 articles in media and saying no one is interested, this is not this shouldn't be in our radar, we shouldn't develop this further. And the same, we cannot say after one conference presentation that this topic is not relevant for their target audience. It means we have to make sure that we reached enough audience to check the fact, so to have a valid proof that okay, let's quit this, let's stop there, and let's move to the next idea, new direction, new activities or whatsoever. And another thing is, when we are talking, because sales process is such a complex, and it requires multiple activities, it requires multiple channels. What's really important that usually law firms get lost among those activities. They do a lot of random things, but the success of the marketing strategy in law firm highly depends on if you manage to put all these activities that you are doing design as a customer journey through the funnel. Meaning starting with, let's say, one activity as an awareness stage, conference, I don't know, banner, whatever it is, and then doing the second action, making a second step to train this people that got your attention, the awareness stage, into interest stage, and then make some extra marketing effort to turn them from interest stage to desire stage, and then action stage where they make a decision finally to sign a contract with you. So consistency and strategic approach, not just random activities, fragmented activities, is a key.
Mm-hmm. So hold your horses, right? Hold your fresh horses
exactly.
from vacations, maintain your plan, what you did. And if you think you did that already, it's the perfect timing to repeat it, to refresh, to find a new angle to send the same message, right?
Exactly,
And
that's the point.
And we're in this time when we're actually setting expectations and goals for next year. So do you have any advice on how to set realistic expectations that one activity will result into something, another activity into something new? Do you have some like maintaining and focusing on the marketing funnel, right? Is that the key that you're sharing with us today?
Yeah, so how to be realistic? First of all, I think it always helps to be realistic and to make wise decisions, whether to stop with someone you are doing it now, or to do something new. Is first of all knowing the benchmarks of your marketing tactics, various marketing tactics, channels, or whatever. So once you know the benchmark, you know whether is it a problem, your idea, your service, your communication, or whatever, or just you didn't reach enough audience to check this, to get the proof, to get the valid proof. And this benchmark, actually, when I'm voicing these things loud and saying that, conversion rate from one stage to another stage usually is, at the best, if you're talking just plain advertising, is 0.1, 0.2 at the best. In some specific tools in marketing, in legal service industry, it might reach 4%. So let's imagine to get response from LinkedIn email campaign, where the click-through rate usually is follow from something like 3%, a bit more. You have to send emails to 30 potential clients to get one response, which will not be, which doesn't mean that it will be positive response. It will just, you'll get a response, yes or no. Maybe he wants to talk about something or meet you for a coffee or whatever. And if we are talking, let's say, about Google Display Network, which law firms also do sometimes, in Display Network, it would be amazing result if you would show 200 times your banner and you will get one click, which doesn't mean that it's an action. It's a click, maybe with linking to the website or something. But in most cases, you have to show the banner at least 1,000 times till someone clicks it. So understanding these benchmarks in every single marketing activity and how these benchmarks work in your industry, makes you better, aware of your decisions, and you have then a proof whether to stick with what you are doing or to move on with something new. So it helps to keep our head cool.
So this approach of we want it all and we want it now, it's not very helpful, right? And
yeah,
I'd like to remind the audience, if you have questions, because Neringa shared some wisdom and some benchmark, even like numbers, if you have some questions, don't forget to write them down at the comment section. But we could talk about this a lot, and these are only like marketing activities. What about sales? What about client relationship? How many meetings you have to instigate, and encourage to perform, and to actually make it happen before your firm is considered as a potential advisor. So we want it all. We want it now. And Manu, if I may, we're on this threshold where I feel like a tsunami is coming. It's like right here. And this reaching of these annual results, planning next year's activities, then all the clients will return with all the urgent queries. All right. What if we're trying to maintain our, billable goals or targets, and yet management comes with new ideas, with more ambitious goals for next year? How to balance it out, how to balance energy levels and watch for oneself in this legal industry, which is very competitive, which is very ambitious, and how to not lose oneself in this fall season.
So there's a lot in that. I'll try and address it. I mean, as best I can. I think The most important thing is I think that and this is also echoing something that Neringa alluded to, is to really think about why we're here and really double down on purpose. So thinking about what is our firm's purpose, what is our individual purpose, what is our professional purpose, why is it that we're here, what is it that we do, why do we do it, and also taking the same kind of approach in relation to the clients. Like, what is the client's purpose? Like, how matched or aligned are our values? And again, as we all know, all clients buy from people, not necessarily the firm. So in relation, it's the relationship that we really need to think about. And so thinking about their needs from that relationship perspective is going to be super important. So doubling down on purpose, thinking about why we are here, helps us to stick with the plans that we've already got, assuming that those plans were articulated in the context of that overall purpose. And if it's not, then there's a misalignment that needs to be addressed. So thinking about purpose, thinking about why our plans are in line with that purpose now. Has anything shifted? And if it hasn't, then we move forward. And then the next aspect is, is my own purpose and my own alignment. So how do we drive alignment for myself, for my firm, with my clients on all these different contexts and on all these different perspectives? One model that we've used with a lot of success is looking at 4 alignments. So they're not necessarily done in a sequential order, but it's a great tool. It's a great methodology to put different decisions, put different strategies through, starting with yourself. So the first time I talk about it, I'd encourage you to think about using this model for yourself as an individual. And then as we talk about it again, we can think about how to use that model for a team or for an organization. And there, obviously, the application is different, but fundamentally the output is the same because we're driving alignment. And alignment up until now, I think, has received a bit of a bad press, because we've always said, that you need to get aligned with this plan, which then has a negative connotation. But what we're talking about here is actually balance, is actual harmony. So if I was fully aligned in all aspects of my life, in all different contexts, then I couldn't be in a better position. And it's the same thing for a team. If a team is fully aligned within themselves or an organization, and in line with their strategy and in line with their purpose, they couldn't be in a better position. So how do we drive that alignment? As I mentioned, there are 4 alignments that we look at in this model. The first is awareness. So most of the time we're running from task to task, deadline to deadline, meeting to meeting, and we don't know what's going on. We don't even know most of the time what we're feeling or why we're feeling it. So how can I drive more awareness into my system, into my world? Now, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What do I need? Remember, we're doing this first time as an individual. When we've got the awareness, we understand where we're at, we understand what we're trying to achieve or why we're feeling a certain particular way. We realize actually most of the stuff that we're worrying about is stuff that we can't necessarily control. It's stuff that we have no necessarily any influence over, or isn't aligned with our strategy, isn't aligned with our purpose, or whatever else it might be. So that means there's a lot of stuff that we can let go of, which brings us to our second alignment, which is acceptance. So it's acceptance that this is what I can actually control, this is what I can influence, and this is what I need to be doing. The rest of the stuff I can just accept and I can let go of, even if you're only letting go of it for now, and we'll pick it up again later. Then when we freed up the space that we're working in, or freed up the space that we need for ourselves, we move to the third alignment, which is autonomy. So now we've understood what it is that we can influence. We've understood where we can make a difference, what we actually need to do. Now let's make an action plan. We make an action plan in relation to those things. That is then our decision that we're going to move forward with. That's what we're going to be committed to. However, we're not going to be aligned with it. We're not going to enjoy it. We're not going to make it sustainable unless that decision, that strategy does something for me. So I need to find a way to love it more, or I need to find a way for it to love me more, or both. So our fourth alignment is adoration. So how can I drive more adoration into this decision making? How can I drive more adoration into this plan, into this strategy? Now, if we do that as an individual, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it becomes an upwardly virtuous circle where we can drive more energy from what we are trying to achieve. So there's not only alignment, there's also more energy, there's more positivity. And if you look at that, how we do that within a team or an organization, again, if we go through those 4 alignments again, first of all, awareness. And if a team are coming together and each individually don't know what they're feeling, what they're thinking, then how is there going to be any awareness within the group? So let's come together. Let's understand what we're trying to achieve. Let's understand what everyone else needs. Let's understand where they're coming from, what kind of energies that they're bringing to it. Then we can understand the second one. Let's like, well, where can we accept? Where can we let go collectively? Where can we understand the stuff that we're trying to do that actually isn't worth doing? And where is there an ability to be able to do the least amount of work for the maximum amount of effort, right? So where are those low-hanging fruits? And with that, we can create our plan. We can make the autonomy. We can make the decisions. So that's the third A. And then the fourth one, well, how is everyone going to commit to this? Now, you're not going to commit to it if I just tell you to do it. You're not going to do it because you feel you have to do it. So what can we do in relation to this decision, in relation to this strategy, so that it fulfills you individually? And then we tweak it in that particular way, and then we move forward.
It does sound like a great exercise for teams who are returning from vacation and before jumping into this busy fall season, considering all the remote work environment, the hybrid work, teams haven't seen one another face to face in a while, or maybe they have, but the majority that I know, I'm aware of, they're still working remotely. Some are still in their summer cottages. So maybe it's a good approach to just, sit together, reconsider and rethink and revisit those plans that were developed and reconsider. Same with like sales and marketing and all the like business goals for the final quarter. Would you recommend because Neringa was advocating for the persistence for continuity, but maybe something changed. Maybe it's a right time to do a brief review.
Yeah, I think reviews are always helpful. I know I'm very conscious that we don't want to rip up plans and start all over again, right? Especially when you've built the momentum that Neringa's talked about, and a lot of these strategies do need longevity in order to be able to be successful. But you're right in that things are always changing, energies are always changing, motivations are always changing, and that's the kind of stuff that we always just need to be aware of. So often we talk about teams or organizations as being relationship systems. So you get a relationship system in any relationship, even if there's only 2 people. So 1 + 1 = 3 in this simple system, right? But the more people you have in a team or an organization, the more complex that system becomes. As a system, as a relationship system, it's always intelligent, generative, and creative. So it's always moving towards achieving the objectives of the people within it. But the people in it don't necessarily know what impact they're having, what impact they're taking away. So if we can find ways to drive more awareness back into that system, we can then drive more intentionality and more purpose and more positivity. So to your point, it's always important to have those check-ins to understand, right? Are we still aligned with the strategy? Are we still aligned with this value? Are we still aligned with this purpose? Are we still working the way that we've previously agreed to work? Or is there anything that needs to change? Because the other thing about systems is that they're a constant state of evolution. They're never, ever static. They're always evolving. And they're always evolving because people come and go, because circumstances change, because deadlines happen, don't happen, whatever else, and that will have an impact on the system. So we need to continually review in light of that, as you've alluded to there.
Neringa, would you recommend doing similar revisits for like marketing and sales plans, considering what's happening in the market? Maybe there is something urgent that needs addressing while maintaining the plan that is maintained.
I actually fully agree with the Manu idea that actually we have to review the synergy, the system, how it has evolved within the summer or something. Yeah, that's true. Especially we had to do that on pandemic period when actually the market was changing a lot, and every single month there was something new, in the market and new situation. So at that time, definitely when there is a lot of when the market is vibrant, we have to do a lot of alignment and review it quite often. Now we see more the market becoming more stable. So from when we are talking about external impact, I do not see that much necessity to review the plan, but maybe, as Manu said, there is some internal changes. Maybe you have some new competences in your team. Maybe you have some, I don't know, new tools that would, and it would make sense to review your marketing strategy, marketing maybe priorities, sales priorities or something. So yeah, if we are talking that something has changed in the system you're working in, then definitely a review makes sense, and alignment as well.
Thank you very much. I saw some hearts and likes flying around, so thank you for reviews. I have this feeling that we want it all, we want it now. Our management like partnership, they want even more. So like, what, maybe Manu, maybe you could elaborate. What could we do? What can we do about humanizing this legal profession? It's getting more and more competition. It's getting more and more ambitious, and I'm maintaining a friendly relationship with law students. And this legal profession is not as inspiring and not as attractive. So how can we keep it attractive? And like, what can we do about humanizing this legal profession? Not squeezing the lemons out completely, but are there any tips and advice for the management and for the leadership of law firms that you could?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can talk about some of the things that we're looking to address. The one thing though I'd start with is I'd go back to saying what I was talking about earlier in terms of purpose, right? I mean, especially the students coming up nowadays and the younger lawyers, they don't want to work necessarily as partners and other senior lawyers have done previously, as we've all had to do because of the systems that we sort of grew up in. They're much more in tune with what they need from a work-life balance perspective, and they much more want to work within an organization that is purpose-driven. Now, it's very difficult to, outwardly, it would seem difficult for a firm to articulate a purpose that's something else other than maximizing hours and revenue, right? But there are ways of doing it. So the firms that do that in an intelligent way, in a holistic way, are the ones that are going to become differentiator, and they're naturally going to be able to create a culture within them that will attract that top talent that we're looking to not just retain, but to actually help and support and thrive. So again, there's be a whole virtuous circle there in terms of driving greater business and greater revenue for the longer term. So when you're talking about how do we humanize the profession, I think we've got to understand what people want from it. And they want purpose, and they want belonging, and they want alignment, essentially. So how can we deliver those things? How can we deliver the elevated culture that comes with that? And the first thing that I'd encourage everyone to do is to think about firms, teams, organizations as human systems. So I mean, previously I talked about relationship systems, which is where that a lot of my work comes from. We've recently partnered with a not-for-profit called the Maturity Institute. The Maturity Institute have for about 10 years assessing and benchmarking organizations as to their holistic maturity. So to what extent are they delivering value, not just to their shareholders, but to all stakeholders? So to their employees, to their supply chain, to their customers, to their partners, and to society. The more they are doing and delivering total stakeholder value, they're a more mature organization. So the way that they look at it is by looking at organizations as a human perspective, as a human system rather, because all the value within an organization is really human value, and all the risk in an organization is down to humans, especially within law firms and professional services more generally. So if we look at them as a human system, then not only can we, by investing in that human capital, drive more value for the business in the longer term, we also mitigate the risk. So there's absolutely a business reason for doing this. So all of that then has led to us launching what we've called the Law Firm Maturity Index, which is an ability to be able to measure a law firm as to, in line with its true reality. So whereas the PR might say this, the internal reality might be different. And it's very, very important that firms understand where there may be gaps between their outward persona and their internal reality. So then you can close those gaps, and then you can deliver a more authentic culture, and you can deliver a more authentic marketing plan, because people know that you are living up to the values that you espouse to on your website and in your brochures. So the whole point about this is, how do we make that real? How do we make that tangible? How do we measure that in a way that you can be genuinely authentic and stand out for that kind of a culture that that people can buy into, whether your clients or whether your lawyers coming in and through the system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I'm just in awe. I guess our audience is they're also in awe because there are no questions. It's a last call. If you have questions, please drop them in a comment section. But as you know, I'm coming from this legal tech environment now, not too much from legal industry, but legal tech. I wanted to ask you, do you believe technology can help law firms achieving their goals? Do you see inspiring examples how law firms are exploiting and using technology for their help?
Neringa, do you want to go first?
If you may start, actually, I can't. There is no other way to live without technology when I'm taking it from marketing perspective. Because first of all, whether it's CRM or whatever you call this tool, I see a big value of tracking our customer journey and performance result of every single marketing tactics, or the bold strategy, the funnel strategy that we are implementing. So the tracking is very important. So we know our benchmarks, so how we succeed in some particular marketing activities or area in some particular market segment or something. So we can compare with others. We can compare with the market benchmark. So knowing that and to make some conclusions how to work in the future. However, the most important thing for me as a marketing professional is that when we are tracking all this customer journey and marking all the activities in one system in technology, using technology, there is a big value that you can make some adjustments here, make some new, decide about the strategy on spot, change the strategy, make some shifts. And even more important, when you are tracking all this, you can differentiate your marketing activities later in the later stages of the funnel and make it micro-segmented, which is very effective in closing the deals, for example. So that's a crucial technology for tracking, for making valid decisions and making sure that you achieve the best results.
Yeah, I guess you can't achieve that from knowing your contacts by heart. Manu, have you experienced any, I don't know, inspiring examples from the legal industry related to technology use?
Well, with my legal ops and legal innovation hat, yes, and I'd say, you know, there are lots of different areas, you know, and as Neringa said, right, you can't do it without in the modern day. And if we're looking to drive greater efficiency, drive greater value, then technology is a massive help in that. And we've seen it in relation to CRM systems. We've seen it in relation to contract lifecycle management systems. We've seen it in relation to, you know, the billing data and where you are in the cycle and project management and so on. So in lots of different areas. More recently, there's a lot going on in terms of legal design, redesigning the contracts so they look and feel differently, that the process a lot cleaner and smoother. And there are two aspects to the way that technology is helping firms. First of all, it's helping the firms themselves be more efficient and be more value driven and be more customer focused. But it's also helping, you know, them to present to their clients themselves as being more innovative and more design led and customer led. So, you know, with firms are not just thinking about how to drive greater efficiency for themselves internally, but how can they sell technology, or how can they implement technology in a way to deliver services better for their clients, and deliver value for their clients in relation to those services. But again, with my legal innovation and ops hat on, what I would always say is that, you know, before running down and thinking about anything in this space, is to always look at why we're here, what are we doing, what is the problem that we're trying to solve. So, you know, we can introduce lots of technology to help us, but we need to make sure it's the right technology, and that it's actually really going to serve the purposes for which we're going to deploy it. Because otherwise, you're not going to get the alignment that you need. You're not going to get the adoption that you need. You're not going to get the results that you need. So always come back to why. Why are we doing this? What's the problem that we're trying to solve? What are the objectives that we're trying to deliver? And then marry those up with the different types of tech that you would introduce.
I absolutely agree. And seeing law firms, you know, and how they struggle with without being persistent and with being attracted to this new and flashy technology, they're like trying one thing, trying another thing. They often, what we see, they often do not really devote enough time to pilot and test and to consider how does this tool will help us achieve our business goals. So at Crespect, we believe that technology is actually essential in helping law firms reaching their goals, their business goals. So what we recommend is to bring order in your own house, bring order in your business, and that's why we are creating this intelligent legal practice management system to actually grow and manage your business. And knowing these frustrations and challenges of the industry, our solution, we try to simplify it and build it all in the same place, like clients, case intake, time tracking, business, like decisions, business intelligence, CRM, billing and invoicing, collaboration, so that lawyers would not need, you know, to run around and learn how to use one system from another. So well, you know, my pitch, my elevator pitch, we are here to enrich your business decisions with intelligent data. And, you know, if one of the issues that we discussed today causes you headache, you know, drop me a message, you know, and I will gladly show how Crespect could address those needs and how could we help you make decisions based on data. So I'm here. But as our audience is in awe and there are only smiles, likes, and hearts, I wanted to thank you all for joining today and actually sneak peek. So if you're interested in Crespect, there soon should be a QR code on your screen that you can capture, or, you know, find me on LinkedIn or on our website. And another little sneak peek, while I still have your attention, I wanted to say that if you, just a second, if you found our webinar inspiring, I'd like to ask you to save the dates and save 18th of September, because we will have another autumn uplift, and this round will be with sharks from the industry, senior experts and advisors. Aku Sorainen and Stephen Revell will join me in the afternoon to discuss about measuring and targeting success of a law firm. You know, it's the end of the year is upcoming, business planning, KPIs and targets. So we're gonna try and touch upon and tackle this topic next. So ladies and gentlemen, Neringa, Manu, it was a pleasure. Thank you for joining. And have a productive fall, right?
You too.
Take care.
Bye.